Chapter 10: The Battle of Hogwarts Redux. The great hall erupted in chaos. Spells crisscrossed the air as shouts and explosions filled the room. Albus, Scorpius, and Rose stood at the entrance, wands raised. "Remember our training," Albus said. "Stay together." They plunged into the fray, their Potter's Patrol training proving its worth. Albus deflected spells, Scorpius disarmed attackers, and Rose's shield charms protected them. Professor Longbottom dueled 2 attackers at once, while Headmistress McGonagall moved with surprising agility, her tartan robe swirling as she cast spells. A cold voice cut through the din. "Well, well, the son of Harry Potter, fighting just like his father." Albus turned to see a tall, hooded figure in a silver mask. "Who are you?" Albus demanded. "I am the future your father thought he had prevented," the figure laughed. The attacker's spell sent Albus flying backwards. Rose stood protectively in front of him, dueling the figure but clearly outmatched. Just when it seemed they might be overwhelmed, a familiar voice rang out. "Get away from my son!" Harry Potter stood in the doorway, with Ron and Hermione beside him. The hooded figure turned. "Harry Potter, how predictable." "It's over," Harry said. "Surrender now." The figure laughed and conjured a swirling vortex of dark energy. "You've walked right into my trap." "It's a time turner," Hermione shouted. "They're trying to change the past." The vortex grew, its pull strengthening. Albus reached for Harry, their fingers touching briefly before Albus was torn away. In a flash, Albus, Scorpius, and Rose found themselves in a different great hall. Younger versions of Harry and his friends stared at them in confusion. "Who are you?" young Harry asked, wand raised. Before they could answer, the doors burst open. The hooded figure entered, flanked by Death Eaters. "Ah, Harry Potter," the figure said. "How wonderful to see you again. Or should I say, for the first time?" The figure removed their masks, revealing a handsome Voldemort, restored to his former appearance. "I am what he could have become," Voldemort said. "What he will become, now that I'm here to guide him." Albus realized they had brought a victorious Voldemort from the future into the past. The fate of 2 timelines hung in the balance. As spells began to fly, Albus vowed to fix this, to save both past and future. Young Harry stepped forward. "I don't know who you are, but if you're against him, you're with us." Albus and young Hermione cast simultaneous shield charms, their spells combining to block Voldemort's attack. The battle raged, past and future students fighting side by side. Albus found himself back to back with his young father, their movements in sync. Voldemort's magic was powerful and unpredictable. "You cannot win," he taunted. "I have seen the future." "The future isn't set," Albus shouted back. "We make our own destiny." Ginny, Neville, and Luna joined the fight, turning the tide against the Death Eaters. Voldemort, frustrated, began a complex spell. The air shimmered and distorted. "He's trying to escape," Hermione yelled. "If he gets away in this time, everything could change." Albus lunged forward, grabbing Voldemort's robes as the world spun around them. They landed in a dark, misty forest. "Foolish boy," Voldemort hissed. "Do you realize where we are?" "Where are we?" Albus demanded. "When you mean, we've traveled to the night." "I first entered the Forbidden Forest," Voldemort smiled cruelly. "And now I will reshape history, starting with eliminating you, Albus Severus Potter." As Voldemort raised his wand, Albus realized this moment would determine the fate of the entire wizarding world. With his father's courage and his own determination, Albus prepared to face whatever came next. Suddenly, a golden light erupted between them. A familiar figure materialized. Albus Dumbledore, younger than Albus, had ever seen him in portraits, but unmistakable. "Tom," Dumbledore said calmly, "I believe you're somewhere you shouldn't be." Voldemort's eyes widened in shock. "How?" "Time has its own guardians, Tom," Dumbledore explained. "Did you think you could traverse its streams without consequences?" Albus felt a surge of hope. With Dumbledore here, perhaps they stood a chance. Voldemort snarled and attacked, his wand a blur of motion. Dumbledore countered each spell with grace, shielding Albus as they fought. "Albus," Dumbledore called between spells, "the Time Turner. You must destroy it." Albus spotted the glint of gold hanging from Voldemort's neck. With a determined lunge, he grabbed the Time Turner and smashed it against a nearby tree. A blinding light engulfed them. Albus felt the world shift and spin, timelines realigning themselves. When the light faded, Albus found himself back in the great hall of his own time. The battle was over, the attackers subdued. His father rushed towards him, enveloping him in a tight hug. "You did it all," Harry whispered. "You saved us all." As the adrenaline faded, Albus realized the weight of what had transpired. They had faced Voldemort, traveled through time, and preserved the future. But questions remained. Who were the attackers? How had they obtained such a powerful time turner? For now, though, Albus was content to be held by his father, surrounded by friends and family, safe in the knowledge that they had overcome the darkness once again. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together as they always had. The future, uncertain as it might be, was theirs to shape, and Albus Severus Potter was ready for whatever it might bring.